Sana, he did it. Didi did it. I believe with everything in me that he allegedly removed Biggie from Earth. He removed Tupac from Earth. He removed Kim from Earth. He tried to remove Al Bishore from Earth. Even Angie Mutaha and the ASANDF knows he did it. But let's not speculate too much because my lawyers are from AFBOB and AFBOB deals with funerals and policies, not lawyers. So I don't want to compromise my freedom too much. I don't want to be Nandipa Makudumani's colleague right now. I don't want to hang out with Rosemary Ndlovu right now. But all I'm saying is that, Diddy, you are a demon and 50 months is not enough. Yan, amukela kumqobo yami bumtaba dad, bumtaba koko, bumtaba auntie, bumtaba asisi. I am Sims and it's at the right Sims on Instagram. So please follow your sister. You hear this? You guys remember that I promoted a business called Pretty Coils, and they were advertising their new virgin hair. Okay, Sana, they sent me some hair because you guys were like, we need to see the hair, we need to feel the hair. And I can tell you right now, the quality of this hair is insane. What do you mean? I am wearing the Kim K unit and it's 1,700 rands. It comes with this satin bonnet. When you order your hair, this is free and they deliver nationwide. Get yours today. You will know. I promise you. I put it on me. I put it on me. Like, get this hair. Trust me. It's amazing. The quality is insane. Like one of the best bobs that I own, hands down. No, it's not good. It's a promo, but this is one of the best bobs that I own, hands down. I put it on me. Get it, and you'll see yourself. On today's video, I just finished watching the Netflix documentary produced by 50 Cent, Curtis Jackson about Puff Daddy, The Reckoning, and Sana. Let's try and summarize everything. Okay. He is born in the 1960s, all right? He is born to Janice Combs and Melvin Combs. Melvin was initially in the army doing things the legal way, and then he became a man of the streets, selling those things allegedly, and he dies very early on in Puff Daddy's life. Puff Daddy is now raised by who? A single mom by what? The name of Janice Combs, who is what? You know, the typical like American story. I've worked 5 jobs to put food on the table. I worked 7 jobs, you know? Yeah. So she worked very hard and lots of jobs and was a straight mom to Puff Daddy. As he's growing up, it is known that Puff Daddy is very flamboyant, he's very eccentric, he is the life of the party, center of attention. He's a hustler more than anything, just like his daddy. He is a hustler. He does not want to do the 9 to 5, okay? He's got a vision. He's autistic. There's a record label by the name of Uptown Records owned by Andre Harrell. Andre Harrell at the time is a black successful man, like putting out amazing artists. Heavy D is on his roster. I'll Be Sure is on his roster. I'll Be Sure still has one of the best songs of all times. My favorite song. I play the song once a week, twice a week. It's called Night and Day. I'll Be Sure is dating who? Kim Porter. They have a son, Quincy. You know Quincy, named after the legend Quincy Jones. Fine. Kim, after having Quincy, she wants to slow down. She becomes the receptionist way at Uptown Records. Puff Daddy sees Andre Harrell, this record label owner. He wants to be in it. He is like starstruck by Andre Harrell. He wants to be in it. He eventually gets to work at Uptown Records. He becomes the A&R, and every day when he walks past the reception, he sees this gorgeous girl by the name of Kim Porter. But Kim is in a relationship with one of the artists, who is I'll Be Sure, right? And Puff Daddy is also like smitten and he idolizes I'll Be Sure. Fine. As time goes on, he becomes too big in a small pond there at Uptown Records. Andre Harrell fires Puff Daddy. He's like, no, I want people who want to work under me. Don't work over me or above me. You are getting too big for my company. Leave, get out, go. At this time, His girlfriend at the time is pregnant. Umisa, he was dating Umisa Hilton. Misa is a very big stylist in America. She styled like Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, like the up and coming hip hop stars. That's Misa. Misa at the time, before she dated Puff Daddy, she was with Eric. Eric was also another guy that Puff Daddy like looked at, and he had the swag, the style, and he was a rapper. And Puff Daddy was like, I like you, I like you. And then they became friends, Puff Daddy and Eric. And then Eric and Misa broke up. And then Puff Daddy put Eric closer to him because he was trying to get to who? To Misa. Okay, Puff Daddy always wanted the girl that was with a powerful guy. He didn't just want anyone. He wanted the girls that were taken by powerful men, right? Eventually, Misa and Eric break up. So Puff is now dating Umisa after she broke up with Eric. As they are dating, we start seeing a dark side of who Puffy when it comes to women. He puts his hands and touches Misa in a WWE SmackDown way. Fine, they keep getting back with each other even after all those incidents. In 1993, they welcome their firstborn son, Justin Combs, right? And then they break up eventually, and Puff starts dating who? Kim Porter. Kim Porter, who has a child with Albie Shaw Quincy. Kim and Puff, we all know their love story too much to us. On again, off again, on again, off again, since 1994 or 5, I'm not sure, but around the time. So now Puff is with Kim. He always wanted Kim. He's broken up with Misa. They already have a child. He's taken two women from two powerful men, Eric's girl and Albie Shaw's girl. He starts his own record label called Bad Boys Entertainment, right? That is where we start seeing the dirt of this man. Okay? And in his record label, he didn't care who he had to trample over and step over to be the man at the top. On the other hand, while he has his own record label, we see Death Row, right? Who Death Row? They have Snoop Dogg, they have Tupac, they have they've got Suge Knight. It's owned by Suge Knight. So on Death Row Records, how Suge Knight got Tupac on Death Row Records is that Tupac had his own case. He was currently under the jail because it was said that he was in a rape case. Okay, he did the sexualia with someone, and that person didn't want to do it, so he was put under the jail for that. And then his bail was set at $1 million. And he made Park was like, anyone who can get me out of this place, I will sign with their record label. That is how Suge Knight got Tupac on Death Row. Tupac at the time is big, is already huge. He's like a superstar. Now, Puff Daddy is looking at this Tupac guy and he wants to be in the mix. He wants to be in it, but he can't get Tupac as an artist, right? And then Tupac is with Suge Knight. Suge Knight and Puffy both own record labels. Suge Knight makes it clear that you are not taking care of your artists properly, and your artists are always complaining that you're not paying them properly. They are starving. They are what they are what. So if you are not taking care of them, they can come over to my record label. And then Puffy's just trying to be this good guy, like, no, I just want peace. I just want peace. I just want peace. Lies. Okay, he is ruthless. He is evil, but he's not showing it in as much as Suge Knight is showing his evil behavior. Right? He hates Suge Knight. Behind closed doors, he hates Suge Knight. There was a point in time where he was in a room with some gang members and he was like, I want those two's heads to roll, allegedly. I want these two removed from earth, allegedly. And obviously, you guys know Hore in America, there's these rival gangs, the Crips and the Bloods. The Crips and the Bloods, right? So it's alleged that Puffy had affiliations with the Crips. It is said because of his childhood. You remember that his dad was in the streets and then he was raised by there was this uncle that raised him and he had Crips affiliations allegedly. So Suge, his blood is red, his blood, his blood, his blood. So already in J, just by affiliation, they are already on opposite spectrums. Okay, fine. Biggie and Tupac were never enemies in the beginning. In fact, Biggie never wanted to be Puffy's enemy. He never wanted to be Puffy's enemy, right? So Pac, Puff was always telling Biggie, "Hore, like make a song, make a song. This man is always dissing you," because Tupac would be on stage and be like, "Hey, I don't care what you say." And then things got worse when Tupac was at Puff Daddy's studio and he got quack, 5 bullets in one of Puffy's studios, right? And he was like, "Oh, that's when the relationship between Biggie and Pac went sour because you are his artist and I get at your boss's studio. So it is you and your boss." And then after that, it was all bets are off. You understand? Pac was always clear all bets are off. Meanwhile, Biggie is like, "I just want peace. I don't want to fight with nobody." And Puff is in Biggie's ear, like, "You need to do something, you need to sing something, you need to sing something." Especially after that whole All Eyes on Me. You know that song, Yaga? The biggest diss song. We still sing that song. First off, and the click, you claim to be a player, but your wife. He was talking about Faith Evans. He allegedly said, Tupac allegedly said in the song that I slept with Faith Evans. Faith Evans at the time was married and pregnant with Christopher Wallace's son. Christopher Wallace is Ubiki, right? So they were like, "Retaliate, retaliate." Biggie was like, "I ain't about that. I don't want to fight Tupac." But Tupac was like, "Already, the lines are drawn. We are done." Fine. Here we come to the demise of Tupac. It is alleged that there is a man, there's a tape that was played in the documentary, a tape that is played by one of a gang member by the name of Kiffy D. Kiffy D was just doing an interview with the police, and he said in detail that Puff Daddy was in a room with us and he wanted Suge Knight and Puffy removed from Earth at all costs. And it got worse when they were at the Mike Tyson fight. Remember, Suge Knight and Tupac were at the Mike Tyson fight, and the fight broke out. And when the fight broke out, it was because there was Orlando. There was a boy by the name of Orlando. It was alleged that he stole a chain a Death Row. Death Row was the record label they got Suge Knight, and Orlando stole a chain allegedly a Death Row. So then, when they were leaving the fight, someone whispered in Tupac's ear, "Hore, here's that boy that stole the chain." So a fight broke out. Then Orlando went to Kiffy D and was like, "They beat me up at the Mike Tyson fight." And then Ngapa, Puff is like, "I want these two gone." So it was allegedly like a build up to all of that. And as we saw in September 1996, they removed Tupac from Earth, right? Through a drive-by in Las Vegas. No one was arrested till today. We allegedly don't know who did it. Fine. In March 1997, guess who we lose? We lose Ubigi. How did we lose Ubigi? Biggie was at a party he didn't even want to go to. Biggie was supposed to go to Europe. Puff was on the phone, was like, "Cancel that trip." He was forcing Biggie to go to this award show. He was like, "I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go." But Puffy eventually convinced him. Then Biggie went to perform at the award show, and then they were going to an after party. Guess what happened on the drive? The car was fired at, and we lost Ubigi. And after we lost Ubigi, Tupac was heartbroken. He was in shambles. He was planning a funeral for Ubigi. And when the funeral costs allegedly started piling up, he said initially he was going to pay for everything. And then when the funeral costs started piling up, he allegedly put the costs on Biggie's trust. He was like, "Nah, this man is going to pay for his own funeral. I'll recoup my money." It's allegedly said in the documentary. We don't know how true it is because statements have come out saying, "No, it didn't happen that way. He actually did pay for the whole funeral," but we don't know. Shortly after that, there is a hot Latina girl on the scene, Jennifer Lopez, right? Jennifer Lopez and Didi start dating when, Big Kim and Puffy were on again, off again, on again, off again. Jennifer Lopez is on the scene now and he is smitten by Jennifer. He wants Jennifer at all costs, puts Jennifer in one of his music videos, and then they are friends. They are friends because they didn't want to like make the timeline suspicious of when they started dating. Then they eventually start dating. We saw them together for a long time. They started going to award shows together. They broke up shortly after they were in a case. You know why? They were stopped by the police and there was a pew pew in the car, and no one wanted to claim that pew pew because that pew pew was involved in very serious cases of removing people from Earth. So what happens? Puff Daddy puts this case allegedly on one of his artists, Ushine. Ushine now gets the blame for that whole case. Imagine, guys. Shine goes to jail for 10 years. Puffy is vindicated. Puffy paid for Shine's lawyers. The lawyers do a terrible job in courts defending O'Shine. Shine catches the case and he goes to jail for 10 years. Puffy scot free. Jennifer Lopez, I don't know anything. Eventually, they break up. Where does Puffy go? Goes back to Kim. Puff Daddy has a child with Tupac's ex-girlfriend Usara. As we all know, Khori Puffy admired Tupac in the distance. He idolized Tupac, but never wanted to say it, never wanted to be about it. But he secretly envied Tupac, and then he eventually has a child with one of Tupac's ex-girlfriends. Do you see the pattern? Do you see what I'm talking about? And then it goes. As the time goes by, any Bad Boys records gets big. He's got all these artists. It's even alleged that at some point he dated Mary J. Blige. We don't know how true that is, you know. Anyway, artists that worked for for Puffy. I keep saying Puffy. Artists that worked for Puffy allegedly end up in jail. They end up not on Earth. They catch cases. They are broke. It's never good working for Bad Boy Entertainment, right? He dates Cassie, and that is the beginning of his downfall. Do you know that Cassie, initially, when she met Puff Daddy, she was dating Ryan Leslie from Canada, right? Ryan Leslie was a producer, and he was the one that did that song, It's Me and You. Uh, I've been waiting. Think I'm gonna make that move now. Cassie, Puffy was smitten by this girl. She was only 19 years old at the time, and she's in a room with Cassie and Ryan Leslie. He's loving the music, he's loving Cassie's look. And then somehow, Ryan Leslie and Cassie break up. Now, Cassie is no longer releasing music, but she is with Sean Combs. We all know how tumultuous that relationship was. And then he's hosting these all white parties, the freak offs, the baby oils. And we heard in detail how he treated Cassie. We even saw videos of the things he did to Cassie. Sadly, Kim's life ends, and every time Kim tried to date someone else, that person would be threatened, that person would be removed, right? Even Cassie, when she broke up with Puff Daddy and tried to date other people, cars were blown up. Things would happen to people. So his women were never allowed, especially these two, Cassie and Kim, they were never allowed to move on until eventually Cassie got married and had kids with her personal trainer, right? And Puff Daddy, that jury, guys, in this case, Puff would have gotten so many more years if they had smart people on the jury, if they had clever people on the jury. The jury was starstruck. They were meeting their idol for the first time, and they're like, nah, it doesn't sound believable. Even after hearing statements from people that worked for Puff Daddy and hearing how ruthless he was, they were like, no, it can't be that. That's not our king. Okay, they were so smitten by Upafi that they didn't believe that he did all these diabolical things, ending with him getting only 50 months in jail for transporting escorts and engaging in sexualia and prostitution, but not the actual um, cases that he was pinned for initially, which was a RICO trial. And in a RICO trial, you would get like life. Again, another day of Puffy dodging a bullet. So I don't know if I summarized this well for you guys. How do you feel about this whole thing? This was a wild, wild, wild documentary to watch. Okay? Let us talk in the comment section down below. Don't forget to get your hair